Hey, it's DIY Gemini, and today we are making a tree collar, but we're making it fully collapsible and be able to store flat in a box. I really wanted a tree collar this year, but there are a couple of problems. So one, cost. It is quite expensive. The ones on West Elm and on Crate and Barrel, which I really like, are over $100. So I'm not trying to shell that out, especially because I think this is very DIY-able. I totally make this. And there are a lot of tutorials online already how to make one of these, made with laundry baskets or just with scrap wood or something like that. But another problem is that storage. So a lot of these are made either pre-assembled and you can't take them apart. They're normally stored in two halves that you put together. And those are quite big. So me living in a smaller apartment, storage is an issue and more crucial. So I wanted to be able to make something that could be disassembled and reassembled into a tree collar. And then once it's disassembled, it stores flat into a flat pack box of some kind. So I didn't see any tutorials on that on how to make one of those. So we are going to make one today. So let's get started. First, we'll start off with this 24-inch pine round that I got from the hardware store. My plan is to get 2 circles cut out from here. Of course, you can use any regular plywood board, but this came on a circle already, so that just saves me one more cut. I'm using the router with a circle jig to cut a bunch of shallow passes to eventually get our circle cut. And I put a piece of insulation foam underneath to protect my table once the router got deep enough. Now we have an outer circle cut. Let's do the second one. Now this is optional, but I added a 45-degree chamfer around the outer perimeter of both circles just for aesthetics, nothing really for function. And then we gave everything a good sand. Next, I had cut up some spare 2x4s I had, and that's going to be used to lift up the inner circle. I made this roughly around 9 inches in length. To make this an extra storage friendly and a flat packability, I'm going to cut both circles in half. I had added these wood tabs that I had glued on from some scrap wood I had to put on one half that will then have this reattached to the other half. So basically, aligning the circle up, I'm going to drill a hole through the tab and about halfway through the circle underneath. This is where we're going to put a steel threaded insert. I'll apply a generous amount of super glue and then hammer these in. And now that we can line the circle back up, we can use this screw and knob to secure the 2 halves together. We'll do 2 of these for each circle. The purpose of the threaded insert allows for repeated screwing and unscrewing, and that will give more life for the tree collar to last a lot longer. And otherwise, you're just going to be screwing into the wood, which will eventually wear away. So all these parts are usually found in the specialty part of the hardware section of the hardware store and are all quite accessible and cheap, but I'll get into the costs into the end of the video. To make this padded look, I gathered a bunch of paint sticks. For this project, I thought I need maybe about 80 or so I gathered 8 packs of 10, and I'm going to be cutting off right underneath this little curved part right here, and this leaves me about 9.5 inches in length. Okay, so last night was randomly warmer, so I was able to stain everything and let it dry overnight. I did everything in a honey stain color. And let's pivot to the legs. So I'm going to be attaching them in a similar fashion as we did the circles. After aligning the legs to where I want them to be, I drilled a hole, and then we're adding a threaded insert. This time I'm using one where you can insert with an Allen key. And then we're going to use a thumb screw to screw it all together. Honestly, you can use a thumb screw for all the attachments or the plastic knob for all of them. I actually just wanted to experiment with using different hardware with this, so I have a little bit more experience using different ones. But just use whatever you're comfortable with doing. You could also just use a hex bolt if you really wanted to without all of the extra stuff too. So now that the legs are done, the last thing is the wood slats. We could just tack these on straight onto the circles like other creators have done, but that wouldn't make it collapsible anymore. So what should we do? I was actually inspired by a previous project that I did recently, my custom tea/coffee cabinet. And in that cabinet, I had learned to build tambour doors for the first time. I'll link the video to that build in the cards if you haven't watched that one. I'm really, really proud of that build, so definitely go watch it. Basically, the doors were a bunch of slats on a piece of canvas cloth that held it together. I thought that would be a perfect idea for this as well, and I'm using an old fabric blind for this, but any sturdy fabric will do. I'm cutting an arc shape where the lengths of these two segments coincide with the circumferences of both circles. So kind of like, like a birthday hat kind of looks like this. This is basically the shape that we're going for. I really had to dig into my high school geometry knowledge for this one. I basically painted it black. Once that is cut, I test fit on the collar, and then we'll add our slats. I'm going to be using a spray adhesive to stick all of these on. Our last step is adding the slats to our tree color base, and to do so we're going to use these magnets here. I have these bar magnets from the hardware store. Just make sure they're like kind of the stronger kind so they can stick really well. But I had made routed cuts into the bottom part of the top circle so we can put those magnets inset into the top of the tree collar. And then we're going to super glue them onto there and super glue them onto the fabric on the back side. And now our collar should be able to attach into the right place. Ta-da! Oh my God, I'm so excited. This project turned out so good, and I'm so proud of this project. She's definitely not perfect, but I am really stoked that this silly little idea just came into fruition, came into life. I was able to do that. I really like projects like these. It really challenges my brain, and it just makes me wonder, like, damn, like if I went to engineering school, I would be unstoppable. I would just be doing all the things, you know? But yeah, I really love projects like this. I love science, and I love, dare I say, the math part of it that made me think about this type of project. And I want to do more projects like these. Like, these are just so much fun, and I'm really able to use both sides of like the art side and the science side of my brain. So yes, it just makes me really happy. So I would love to do more projects like this. And you know, I am DIY Gemini. Like, I am literally interested in all the things. So yeah. Okay, so before we go, let's dive into the costs real quick. So as a reminder, our inspiration was over $140, an original price. This one total of $50 for everything with all of the stuff. Some of the stuff I already had on hand, but I think that is a great cost savings, and it also flat packs into a box, which that other one cannot. So this is totally better, not biased at all. Yeah, so let me know what you guys think about this tree collar. what the idea that we had. Everything is super accessible. All those parts and specialty items I got at the big box store, so you're able to find them in the specialty hardware section. Thank you so much for watching today's video. If you liked what you saw today, don't forget to subscribe down below and catch the next video. That's going to be a very interesting one, very different from this one, but it's going to be featuring this guy right here. If you know, you know. But yeah, I'll catch you at the next one, and happy holidays, everyone. Merry Christmas, Happy New Year, all the things. Bye.